Hello, Dave McConville here from Grow Nashua, and today we are in the Dr. Crisp School Garden, and we're going to do a little winter cleanup, and we thought we would talk a little bit to inform you as to how to prepare your beds for growing. So what we have is, at this site, we have a bunch of raised beds. The material, like if we look over at this bed here, there's some plants that have, the stalks that are still there, so we want to cut that down and put that back in the soil. Typically in no-till gardening, we leave the roots in the soil to decompose. However, with some of the corn stalks, I've been pulling those up and getting that soil back in the garden. This will go in our compost and we'll end up back in here eventually, but it makes us, gives us a clean slate to start planting and doesn't disturb the soil too much. So let's take a quick walk over this other bed, and I want to show you about cleaning up last year's fallen fruits and vegetables. So here we have a bunch of tomatoes that didn't get harvested and ended up falling, and we want to actually clean all these up. Even though it's good biomass and nutrients to go back in the soil, it's also a vector for disease that could overwinter on the fruit and affect this year's crops. So I like to collect all of these things, kind of pick them up and throw them in the compost. A healthy compost will help to break down that disease and can apply that compost back to the garden when it's ready. Our next step in prepping this bed is we're going to start planting it out, and we have some onion starts here. We picked these up down at the Farmers Exchange, and we're going to plant a border of these along the outside of our bed. And the reason that we're doing this is that members of the allium family, like onions, shallots, chives, are good pest suppressors in that they an odor and a chemical that wards off aphids and things like that. So it's just a way that you can help protect your beds against that pest. So the way that you plant these, we're going to plant them probably about 6 inches apart, is basically create your hole, and you want to hold the onion up and just bury it right to the crown. You don't want any of the green green stem to be underground, so you can still see a little bit of that brown skin of the onion. So as I said, we've got about 50 in these starts, so we're going to put them in this bed, and we'll show you what that looks like when we're done. Okay, we're back from planting our onion starts, and if you look here, we've got them spread about 6 inches apart, so we measured that from our thumb to our pinky, and we have those set up. So we have just shy of 50 around the edge of this, and now we're going to sow some cover crops. And I already threw down some field peas that I had left from last year, and peas are a great nitrogen fixer. So they take nitrogen from the atmosphere and fix it in the soil. And when you go to plant and you cut the field peas down and just leave them there, that's called chop and drop, then that nitrogen is released into the soil and other plants can access it. So that's why we sow peas and other legumes and clovers. They're nitrogen fixers. So what I have here in my hand right now is some buckwheat, and we're going to sow this as an additional cover crop, and this essentially creates biomass that just helps to cover the soil and keep all the organisms in the soil alive. So we just kind of broadcast it around. Don't want to go too heavy. We have peas down there, and again, once we are ready to plant our transplants, then we would chop down the buckwheat and just lay it on the soil in the chop and drop strategy. And that adds biomass to the soil. You're creating your own mulch. It's like living mulch. So that suppresses weeds, helps keep moisture in the ground, and cycles nutrients. So it keeps bringing them up from the soil and then dropping them back down. The third crop I'm going to add to as a cover crop is radish. And these are radish seeds that I harvested last year, and you can see they're still in their stalk. And so I'm trying a new strategy this year, and we'll see if it works. But what I'm doing is I will just take a smaller handful here to start, but just kind of crush this over my bed. I'm releasing radish seed and I'm mulching at the same time. So it's worked out pretty well at my home garden, so I thought I would try it out here. And So this breaks up some of the pods, releases some of the seeds. This is kind of like a time release method because some of the seeds will remain in the pods and they might not germinate until later in the season, and you'll get some surprise radishes, which you can eat the radish greens, you can eat the root, as you know, and or you can just chop and drop it. But radishes are among a class of plant called dynamic accumulators, which have deep tap roots. They help to decompact your soil, and they help to bring minerals up to the surface from down below. So that's one of the reasons why we use radish. So we're going to go ahead and continue putting the radish down, and then we have some straw mulch that we'll put on top, and then we're going to water everything in. And so the last step, well, there's two steps, is we need to water everything in, because whenever you transplant or seed, you want to make sure that gets watered in. But we're going to cover it with some straw. And note there is an important difference between straw and hay. Straw does not have any weed seed, whereas hay is grass and can contain seeds. So we don't want to bring unwanted materials into our garden like grasses. So it's best to use untreated straw. And it's again a windy day, so it's going to be a challenge, but we want to kind of just spread this lightly, not too heavily, and then we'll water it in. The watering will help to keep it in place. But it seemed to be a little wind tunnel today. And so, work with the wind. Let the wind take the straw for you. Figure out which direction it's going in and let it help you out. But the sooner you get it watered in, the sooner it will stop blowing around. And we also want to make sure we water these onion starts in really well to get them started and established. Okay, so those are the basics of opening up your garden bed for the summer, growing season, getting it ready. Okay, we're back. There was one more thing I just wanted to show you, the bed after we've finished watering in the mulch and the cover crops. So I'm just going to let this sit and keep an eye on the cover crops. We'll need to water it by hand for a little while until the cover crops get established. And we can start using the wicking system, because the wicking system won't work for all these little seedlings, so we have to make sure they're nice and dry. So as the wind blows and some of this mulch goes off, we might have to reapply it, but we didn't want to put it too heavy since we direct sowed. We want to make sure those seeds have space to get up through the mulch. And one other thing pointing out, if we were mulching to suppress weeds and we were doing transplanting, then we would put on a much heavier layer of mulch, which we will end up doing when we cut the cover crops and plant into this bed. So that is all from Dr. Crisp here today. Dave McConville with Grow Nashua.